Hello and welcome to the space between ideas. I'm Blank Gates. It's 10 o'clock in Tbilisi. Uh, hmm, what's going on with my background? Check it out. We got some flowers. Okay. All right. Back to the old desk. Now that the winter's ended and the spring challenges ended and everything else is behind us. Oh, back to sitting straight. Oh, good, good. What are you doing? All right. So I just realized that most people they sit in a desk and I don't know, this after a while sitting on the couch starts to hurt your neck and your back. So probably gonna take me a couple days. Stop it, Gordon. This dog is so crazy. Gordon the good. What do you want? You don't even know what you want. Okay, anyways. Dog doesn't know what it wants. All right, just want to check a couple things. This uh actually I like my background. Mm, but I also need that foreground. Mhm, 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 mhm. Okay, check the audio. Testing 2, 3. Great. The audio is off. All right. So today I wanted to start it out with a little bit of a little challenge between the old and the new. So this one is, I don't know what this one is. Oh, yeah, I can remember that. So this is the old version of my googly goo, my how would you call it? Of the huh? It's the old version of I wouldn't say the old version. Actually, I used this version to create the current yeah, version to create the current product requirements doc. So this is actually the group that I used quite a bit to create the PRD, also to really define the relationships between my team members. As you know, my team is primarily simulated. So my team is I have 3 members on my team. I got Lisa, Pinky, and the Brain. Lisa, she's mainly in charge of making decisions, and sometimes she takes on the role of the executive and sometimes the manager. And then she likes to communicate with the Brain. The Brain is the coach and the analyst, and the Brain's output is generally advice. And Pinky is following orders and rules. Generally, it's kind of my understanding is actually that Pinky is providing advice as well. It's just a different type of advice. Pinky is talking about what's happening and what do we have to work with from a perspective of a technician, meaning the person who's doing the end service or production, the clerk, meaning people who do paper transactions, paperwork, paper related, something that touches paper. Librarian manages the data in the database. So that's all kind of like the front, this is like the front end. And then this is the database in here, not the database. This is the how do we think about the work that's being done and how do we improve the work that's being done? And then over here, we got people that are making decisions, managing people and processes with infrastructure. So I use this framework to create these personas in the products requirement doc. If we take a look at the product requirement doc, you can actually see that. You can't see it. I hear it. It's role definition. Yeah, so our team operates using three core personas that map to three core functions. The detailed capabilities and protocols are defined in the appendices. Lisa is the decision maker manager, strategic manager who owns the decision making process. I mean, I guess there's not really that much difference between the concept of like the vision and direction of the company and managing people and processes with infrastructure. I like to define it as kind of like the Captain Hook and Mr. Smee relationship. Uh, we'd have to go deeper into the appendix to really understand what the product's requirement discusses as in relation to Lisa's role. And then we have the brain, support function that improves decisions and execution. The hands is the execution layer who performs the tasks and reports on the ground truth. And then we have some kind of like this. The idea is that we want to create a simulated conversation model, this interactive workflow, and AI actively uses the rules defined in the document to manage a conversation. When the project lead introduces a topic, the AI will activate the most appropriate persona based on the context and the detailed activation protocols defined in Appendix B, facilitating a dynamic, multi perspective discussion. Will also provide opposing arguments to other personas when a stronger argument provides crucial insight. Who added that? All right. Now, all right, here it's talking about the deliberate practice framework. And when we talk about the data standards, recently I've been thinking a lot about data standards. And the reason is because I need to think about data standards because I need to use a CRM tool. So you can see I initiated a conversation here between like Lisa, the brain, and Pinky. They have this increasing sales using data 90-day action plan. Well, I'm not going to be able to do the action plan because, and I'm not actually even going to be able to talk about data standards yet because I'm not at stage. And I'm not going to be able to use this deliberate practice model to answer the question, like, how can we increase sales using our data? Because we're just not there yet. But um, we need to be thinking ahead about tools. And for example, discussion about like, would you rather have, um, I think even this discussion, it might, yeah, here. So like, so we got HubSpot CRM or we got Notion CRM template. Um, we had a little discussion about which CRM tool. We got Zoho CRM. I don't necessarily need to answer that question right now. The question I'm trying to answer right now is actually about Trello. I met Trello a very, very long time ago. Actually, I met Trello before I arrived in Silicon Valley. So this is at least back to 2010. When I was in China, I met this company called Trello and I thought it was interesting. I actually prefer the old version of Trello. The new one is like it's more sleek, it's more modern, it's more businessy, but I like the old clunky, big, beautiful version. Um, the issue now is that I don't it's not very useful for me because like right now I need to be able to see what's the next step in all my boards. If we go back to the page here, so we got this video. I don't even know what that means. We got Q3 outreach pipeline. So this is related to the CRM tool. We got the app development. We got the CEO dashboard. Of course, if I spent a little more time just kind of like looking at these dashboards, going through them one by one, then probably I could like start to remember what's going on. And the issue with me is sometimes I hit a tangent and then I start going in some direction and it takes me a while to find my way back. So the one board that I want is I want to have like a motherboard which takes the the next item, like the thing that I'm working on, and from each of those boards and puts it into one board. I think I've had this discussion previously with this guy. Anyway, so we're gonna do a competition, a head-to-head competition. This is the old version. So this is the MVP version. This is the June 19th version, version 1.8. This is also the version which I used to one prompt my website, as you can see here. Or is this the 1.7 version? This might be the 1.7 version. Yeah, this is the 1.7 version. What did I change in the 1.8 version? That's a good question. Anyways, it's not important. So we got the new product requirement doc. It's up here. And then we have like a whole bunch of different product requirement docs. Like we have version 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, all the way up to 1.8, apparently. I don't know if we're still within the 1 million token context window. And in addition, on the left side, we also have all of this data was created, the data standards, the discussion about the CRM tool, the discussion about deliberate practice. All of that is currently in the left screen. It's not in the right screen. So I want to talk about the product launch roadmap. And then I want the product launch roadmap to create, I mean, to help me decide which um, task management tool to use. As you know, I've been talking a lot about like money.com and ClickUp and Asana, things like that. And I think one of these has some of the features I'm looking for. So let's create the prompt on this side. I'm going to copy and paste the same prompt into the left side. We're going to compare just the PRD, the current version, the 1.8 version of the PRD, and the left side with all the context from all the PRDs in the past and some new context about the CRM tool. All right, so let's have a little chat about the product roadmap, MVP to IPO. All right, let's trigger a team meeting. Lisa, go ahead and begin the simulated conversation. The discussion should be about which project management tool we're going to be using. So I'm talking specifically about something that has a list of tasks, and then there are some people responsible for those tasks, and there's a status for that task, and also there is a due date for that task, something like that. And I noticed that they have that kind of task list. It's really easy to find. For example, Asana, Monday.com, ClickUp. I think those are the three most popular. I would be interested to hear if there are other tools which are more popular and why they're more popular. But I think we need to address the core issues. Previously, I was thinking about how to pick one of these project management tools, but now I see that the choice I made is probably wrong. The choice I made was to go with Trello. And the issue I have with Trello is that I was able to create a couple of different boards that represent things that I'm working on. For example, maybe I have something like a CEO dashboard, which is kind of like from the CEO level, what should I be discussing with the department managers? And then we also have the app development. So that's the R&D department or the project or the product management department. Then we have the outreach pipeline, which is related to marketing and sales. Then I have like a random one. It says this video. I'm not really sure what that is. If I click into it, I can see that the well, it's got today's objectives, current task, and done. So that board talks about things like finishing testing the website and then uploading it to a domain name, save the deep research file. Oh, the deep research file was about finding like customers based on taking the user stories from the Monday.com website, where they have a list of 50 stories that talk about their customers and how they use Monday.com. ClickUp also has that type of page. They have another 50 stories from their customers, and it gives us a really good look at like who are the potential customers who are already using these project management apps, these task list apps. So, since my customer, it's the people that are using these apps. Also, I need to start to think about how my product links directly to these products. And so, yeah, I want to find out which one of these apps is it Jira, and I need to figure out which one is going to be the most useful for my specific situation. And then at some point, I want to be able to connect my product to that product. So there's like a seamless way to integrate what I'm building into that task management app. And the other thing is like I really need a task management app right now because like all right, so the other things, today's objectives, it also has think about creating a social media campaign and then also how to think about the list of competitors. And then it says like current task, new Trello board as a CRM, and then adding three competitors to the next element of the value proposition. So this idea about adding three competitors next to the element of the value proposition, it's coming from this idea that when you build a product, you need to understand the elements of the value proposition of those products. And then you can use three of the Porter's five forces related to who are the established competitors, what kinds of new entrants or innovative competitors are entering the market, and also the substitutes. And so those are all like tasks that are on this specific board. If we go into another board, we can see there is the Q3 outreach pipeline, which basically has like a backlog and it is defining the different types of companies we might go after based on some categories like professional services, travel and tourism, nonprofit education, technology, software, digital, financial services, retail, and CPG, media, and advertising. So, but then suddenly I realized I can't use this Trello for a CRM tool because like it only has two dimensions. I can only have like a list of ideas, basically rows in a column, and then you can move. So it's a little bit like a Excel spreadsheet, except that you can move the cards. You can click and then drag it to a new column, whereas a Excel spreadsheet would just be copy and paste. The issue is that like professional services is a category. And underneath that category, I need to be able to start listing companies. And then based on the data standards related to the CRM, then I would need to have some pretty specific data about the names of the companies and also like email, maybe some contact information. And it has to be in the same format. So that's why I need a professional CRM tool rather than Trello. Now, if we open up the CEO dashboard, we can see things like, okay, there's actually nothing in there. It just has defined the technical plan for the simplified objective builder MVP. And finally, there's like one that says app development. And in that one, it says um, research the Trello API for creating cards, research the Jira API for creating issues, build the UI for the brainstorm module, build the UI for the choose module, build the UI for the objectives module. And actually, I've done all that kind of stuff, except for the research on the API for creating cards within Trello and Jira. So I guess we are on that item right now because I was able to build a basic working model of the MVP using Replit and also using Windsurf. So now I want to start to improve that MVP. And one specific area where I might develop is to create some direct connection to one of these project management tools. And what what better way to like create some connection from my product to a task management, project management tool than to actually be using that product and understanding that product. And as you can see, Trello is just not able to handle the things that I need it to be able to handle. The main issue that I'm facing is that Trello, although I can manage different boards and have all these different boards, there's no way to organize the information so that I can see from like one view all of the things which need to be done today, or like all of the items that people are working on. Let's say that I have a team, and then each of those teams, they are working on their own boards. Well, I need to have like a CEO board which shows me what is the actual work being done right now in each of those different teams. And because I'm a one person team, then that means that I can focus just on that one main list of what are the high priority items that we need to be working on right now. And so I need some kind of software that can help me to do that. All right. So what we're going to do is just going to, here we go. So we got this one, and we got the same prompt for this one. Anyways, it's going to tell me to use Asana. I remember from the previous conversation, it said that Asana is like the only one that has the ability to have one uh, common task list based on what needs to be done right now. Scene opens with a simulated video conference. Lisa is at the corner of the screen, projecting a calm, authoritative presence. Project lead's icon is also visible. Lisa, good morning, and thank you for convening this meeting. The topic today is the selection of our core project management tool. Based on your detailed breakdown, I understand the situation clearly. We fit the operational limits of Trello. Its Kanban-style boards were sufficient for initial brainstorming and categorizing work into broad themes like app development, outreach pipeline. However, it fails on two critical requirements you've identified. Lack of unified view. We cannot aggregate tasks from different boards into a single high-level CEO dashboard to see all priority items at once. Insufficient data structure. It cannot function as a proper CRM or handle complex multidimensional data, which is necessary for tracking our outreach pipeline with the required level of detail. This choice directly impacts our team's execution efficiency and our product's future as we plan to integrate our objectives builder with a chosen platform. According to our operational manual, this is a type 1 tool execution decision. The responsibility for evaluating and recommending the tool falls to the hands that will use it most. Therefore, Pinky, as our lead technician and executor, you are responsible and accountable for this initial analysis. Please begin your research. Pinky's icon activates, appearing focused and ready. Acknowledged. I'll begin. I don't want to do the actual voice of Pinky. He gets Brian. Acknowledged. I will begin immediately. My objective is to evaluate the most popular alternatives. Asana, money.com, ClickUp, Jira, the ones I just like told it to talk about. All right. Asana, often favored by mid-sized to large organizations for managing complex projects. It's strong in text management, built-in communication, but can be overwhelming for simpler needs. Money.com marketing as a work OS is extremely flexible and visually intuitive. It's excellent for cross-functional teams and can be adapted for various uses, including CRM and sales pipeline. It's a strong all-around contender. Positions itself as an all-in-one solution, particularly appealing to the startup. It's a feature-rich offering task management, docs, goals, and more in one place. It's often most affordable, can have a steeper learning curve due to the sheer number of features. It's an undisputed leader in the software development space. It's built around agile methodology, sprints, backlogs, story points, integrates deeply with the development of tools like GitHub. My primary focus were purely software engineering. This would be the standard choice. API integration. All four platforms have robust REST API that would allow our objective builder to create tasks. This is a baseline requirement for all modern tools. Meet have API well documented and geared towards broad business use cases, making it strategically straightforward for integrating a tool like ours. It's also excellent, but more complex due to the specific data model and integration with Jira would likely be resource intensive to build. All right. So Lisa says, my recommendation for the next step is to focus. It's a focus trial. We should select either Monday.com or ClickUp as the primary candidate and spend 1 week migrating our existing Trello board into it. This would allow us to test the platform in a real world scenario. Um, let's just go to the next steps. Pinky, by the end of the day, Monday, sign up for the free tier of Asana, Monday.com, ClickUp, perform basic API connection tests. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to say I gave I gave the version 1.8 June 19, 2025 version of the product requirements document to a new AI instance. And this is the response that it gave me based on the exact same prompt that I just gave you. And well, I decided not to use your recommended updates that were recommended after the 1.8 version. And I'm still focused on using the 1.8 version. The main reason is because I don't know if we should create a separate document for different different departments. It's the same issue that we're facing with the project management software because the project management software it is going to give us different boards for different responsibilities, and that's how an organization works. You have different departments, and within those different departments you have a department lead, and then those department leads have some project managers based on the various projects that are being run in those departments. And this is the whole nature of having a project management software. So when we start to talk about how we created this uh, this piece of software, so the objectives builder software, it's like the website that we're building. That this is actually in one specific department. So this is the product department. This is where we are building a product, and then we're gonna have like another department which is talking about like where are we going to sell our product, how are we going to sell that product, and that is going to be likely a website. So the website is not the product. The website is separate from the product, and it is an expression of what this company is working on, what this company is all about. Sometimes people would put a blog in that type of environment, and then the people would come to the website. The blog also helps so that the internet, when it's scraping data and when people are asking about your blog, then you can start to use the various tools to improve the SEO of the website. And then people that are searching for a product like ours would be able to find it through the blog articles. Blog articles might also include some training videos so people would understand how to use the application that we built. Anyway, so this is a separate department. And then another department is going to be the sales outreach marketing department, who is going to be divided again into two different groups. One would be the social media and online advertising, and then the other one would be the direct contact and reaching out to companies. So you can see already we're starting to fragment or fracture the work that we're doing into other areas. This also can be uh, thought about from the idea of deliberate practice, because deliberate practice asks you to create categories, and then within those categories you have sub items, and then the sub items we have elements. So if we think about the elements as projects that we're working on, and if we think about the sub items, for example, I just explained how the marketing outreach department would have something like two different sub items, then you can start to see how an organization is this concept of deliberate practice. And then as we create exercises around the projects that we are working on, then we will have like a better, more powerful and improved organization. So that's why I didn't put in all of the details that I didn't want to include all of the details about the data standards and the deliberate practice formulation of how to increase sales using data with that specific idea of a discussion about a CRM tool, because I feel like right now the PRD is mainly for building the website. And I feel like we should have this main document. So I'm trying to see that we likely would need to remove, we need to take the current product requirements doc and split it into two. So the one would be related to the team operations manual. The team operations manual would be like a robust document that continues to improve over time and helps us to work together as a team. I'm talking about Lisa and the brain and Pinky. And we might in the future think about some other personas that we might use when we are doing the actual process of working with Replit or working with Windsurf in order to add features to the website or the application that we're building. So yeah, I can see how a team operations manual separate from the project document. Then the project document would probably be something like a high level project document. And then the high level project document would then be cut or split into departments. And then within each department, then we would start to be creating some department specific objectives. And well, probably within the department, you'd have your sub items. So you'd have the different teams, and then within the different teams, then you'd have your projects that each of those teams are working on. And we also need to have that. So we need to have that inside of the documentation that we would be using to calibrate new AI instances. And also, if we want to create separate AI instances that are focused specifically on one thing, so perhaps like you wouldn't necessarily want uh, one AI instance to be calibrated with all of the documents and projects of a team that's working on the the marketing when you only want to discuss some new feature you're adding to the product. So you can see how we're starting to fragment as the company is developed. And we need to be able to have this reflected in the calibration documents that we use within our AI instances. And we also have to have the same structure reflected in our project management tools. So you can reflect on the output that we just received from the other AI instance that is using version 1.8 of the product requirements doc. You can think about what we have been working on in the past, and you can think about the issue that I'm explaining right now, and you can have a discussion around these ideas and come up with a list of objectives. And then within those lists of objectives, then I would like to have some kind of task list for each. So I would recommend using the brainstorm document in a simulated conversation. And then after you finish using the brainstorm module, then I would like you to use the choose module. After you finish using the choose module, you should have a list of objectives. And after you create a list of objectives, then I want you to use the objective module for each of the objectives. And after you have completed the objectives module with each of the objectives, then I'd like you to print out a scoreboard for each of the objectives. Now, we're just going to listen to the whole conversation. So I'm just going to stop sharing the whole screen. And then I'm going to just share that one specific screen. Now, usually it works better If I share, like, for example, if I share this doc on the other page, and then I click back into the window. Also, I'm not sure that this is the best size. How about this size? All right, hello, project lead. I have successfully loaded and reviewed the project requirements document for the objectives of project version 1.1, and I understand what the dickens. All right, so they definitely had a chat. You have a significant and crucial, hey, look at that, crucial insight. You have had a significant and crucial insight. Your analysis is absolutely correct. The journey we've been on has mirrored the growth of a company. And we have reached a point where a single monolithic document is no longer a tool for alignment, but a bottleneck. Your analogy is perfect. Just as growing a company requires different departments, our project requires more sophisticated, federated documentation structure. A single PRD for everything is as inefficient as having the entire company work off a single Trello board. You're asking me to use our simulated team to solve this fundamental architectural problem. We will use the full suite of tools we have designed to re-architect our entire operational system. Wonderful. Let's listen to it. Seems like there's not that many objectives.
You have had a significant and crucial insight. Your analysis is absolutely correct. The journey we've been on has mirrored the growth of a company, and we have reached the point where a single, monolithic document is no longer a tool for alignment but a bottleneck. Your analogy is perfect. Just as a growing company requires different departments, our project requires a more sophisticated, federated documentation structure. A single PRD for everything is as inefficient as having the entire company work off a single Trello board. You are asking me to use our simulated team to solve this fundamental architectural problem. We will use the full suite of tools we have designed to re-architect our entire operational system. Let's begin the meeting. Objective Builder, Strategic Restructuring Initiative. Participants: Lisa, Decision Maker, The Brain, Analyst, Pinky, Executor. Agenda: to address the limitations of a monolithic PRD and design a new, scalable documentation and operational structure for the company. The session is initiated by Lisa. Lisa, team, the project lead has identified a critical flaw in our current structure. We have been operating from a single, monolithic PRD, but our company's needs have evolved. We now have distinct functions: product development, a customer-facing website, and a go-to-market strategy. A single document cannot effectively serve these disparate needs. Our new, high-level objective is to re-architect our documentation and operational structure to support a multi-departmental, scalable company. We will use our full endeavor cycle process to tackle this. We'll begin with the brainstorm module to generate ideas. Let's start with step 1. Imitate trends. Brain: how do other scaled companies solve this problem? The Brain: excellent question. The dominant trend in scaled tech companies is federated but linked documentation. They use platforms like Confluence or internal wikis. There is no single, master document. Instead, there is a top-level mission and vision page that links to distinct, department-owned spaces or design docs. For example, a high-level product strategy doc would link to the detailed technical specification docs for each feature. The key is that each document is self-contained but interconnected. Pinky, as librarian, from a practical standpoint, this is similar to how large software projects are managed in a single code repository. There is a top-level link to readme.md file that explains the whole project, our high-level document. Then, you have a docs folder with detailed guides for different parts of the system, our departmental docs. The actual code files contain comments explaining their specific function, our project-level tasks. Everything is separate but accessible from one place. Lisa: perfect analogies. Let's move to step 2. Ideate. What is our specific version of this? The Brain: I propose we formally create a company wiki in our Notion workspace. The landing page will be our high-level company charter, containing our mission and top-level OKRs. This page will link to 3 distinct departmental manuals. 1. Product Manual, Objective Builder app, containing the technical specs, module definitions, etc. 2. Marketing and Sales Manual, containing the customer personas, GTM plan, outreach pipeline, etc. 3. Team Operations Manual, containing our persona definitions, protocols, and frameworks. This manual will be the one true source code for how we collaborate. Lisa, I like the clarity of that structure. That moves us to the choose module. The scenario on the table is adopt the 3 manual federated wiki structure in Notion. The benefits are scalability and clarity. The only potential drawback is ensuring the documents stay linked and don't become new silos. However, given Notion's capabilities, I believe we can manage that. I am making the decision. We will proceed with this new structure. This leads us to our final objectives. I see 3 clear, sequential objectives for this initiative. 1. Objective 1. Deconstruct the monolithic PRD. 2. Objective 2. Establish the new federated wiki structure in Notion. 3. Objective 3. Migrate core content and archive the old PRD. Now, we will use the Objectives module for the first objective to create its task list. Objectives module. Processing Objective 1. 1. Objective. Deconstruct the monolithic PRD, version 1.8, into its logical, reusable components so they can be migrated to the new federated structure. 2. Delegation steps. The brain will be responsible for identifying the core sections to be separated. Pinky, as clerk, will be responsible for the mechanical act of copying the text into new, separate documents. Lisa will be accountable for the final review. 3. Business services. No external services are needed. This is an internal restructuring task. 4. Necessary skills. A deep understanding of our project's history and the logical connections between the different sections of the PRD. 5. Additional tools. We will use our existing Notion workspace. 6. Contacts. This is a task for our internal team only. 7. Cooperation. Close cooperation between the brain, for logical separation, and Pinky, for accurate transcription, is required. Scoreboard. Task list, for Objective 1. Deconstruct the monolithic PRD. Here is the final, goal-oriented task list generated from the process above. Task. Create a new top-level folder in our workspace named Archive, Monolithic PRDs. Task. Move the file for PRD version 1.8 into the Archive folder. Task. Create a new document titled team_operations_manual_v1.0. Task. Copy section 3 and appendices A, B, and C from the archived PRD version 1.8 into the new team_operations_manual_v1.0. Task. Create a new document titled product_manual_v1.0. Task. Copy section 1, section 2, and section 5 from the archived PRD version 1.8 into the new product_manual_v1.0. Task. Create a new document titled marketing_sales_manual_v1.0. Task. Review the marketing and sales manual to confirm if any content from the archived PRD, e.g., target lists, needs to be migrated. Self-correction. The previous PRD had no marketing section, so this will start as a blank slate, which is correct. Task. Create a new top-level document titled company_charter_v1.0. Task. Copy section 0 and section 4 from the archived PRD version 1.8 into the new company_charter_v1.0. Task. Lisa to review all 4 new documents to confirm the content migration is complete and accurate. This same process would now be repeated for Objective 2, establish the new wiki structure, and Objective 3, migrate core content, to generate their own unique task lists.
Okay, I think that we could just have the company charter and the team operations manual as one document. I like the idea of having a separate team operations manual, a product manual, and a marketing sales manual. So one last question is, when we start to build a website where the website is the place where the application would be presented, maybe discussed and blogged about, is that going to be also within the product manual, or is that going to be a separate manual? And also, can you create the text for each of those manuals and make sure that the manuals connect to each other in a way that they inform and understand each other, and then print these documents? What I want to do is establish new wiki structure. Well, I already did that. So I just went over to the Notion page just now and I added those 3 sections. So basically, I'm just going to be, oh boy. So this is an issue right now with Google Gemini because the if it uses the canvas, then it's gonna like have some problems right now. And it's always forcing me to use the canvas, and I'm not really happy about it. And I don't know how to get out of the canvas when it already gets you into the canvas. Anyways, so I'm gonna do some work on this. I don't know. I don't think there's any reason for everyone to keep watching right now. You can see that basically, well, let's go back to the Trello board. And then let's go to the CEO dashboard. So what we want to do is we want to copy the new set of docs to Notion. We need to pick a new CRM tool. We need a project management tool. I mean, there is the possibility if we really want to like become really good at project management tools, then we may want to use Notion. So answer the question, what is the benefit of becoming a Notion expert? I think that probably Notion can do everything that these other websites can do, but it just takes a little more time to design it and develop it. And the thing is that if I do that, then there is like a benefit behind it because then I'll understand the how everything works within that Notion page. I'll be actually developing a piece of project management software, and maybe I'll be able to actually even just develop the CRM tool within Notion. So if I can create the CRM tool and the project management tool inside of Notion, uh, another question is, can you run apps? I think you can run apps and websites inside of Notion. So then the question is, should you use Notion as a foundation? Should you use Notion as a foundation for the project creation and project management for all departments in preparation for other software development projects, or just use out of box uh, out of box products? So that's the thing, is because now we're moving into this world of like software on demand. And if I want to create software on demand, if AI can just make the software for me, like really, really quickly, then what's more important is understanding the architecture behind the software. And then I just tell the AI coding tool the kinds of software that I want. So then that means that the most important thing is having a deep understanding of your workflows and then how those workflows are connected to other workflows. And then you just talk to the AI. Eventually, I think it's like talking to the AI and just explaining what you want. And so the main issue is always how well can you explain what you want? And that's dependent upon how well you know what you want. And you can't really know what you want unless you've worked deeply in the area of possibility. Anyway, so we got the team operations manual. Um, it's only the team operations manual. Anyways, like if I copy the contents, what happens? Well, I got another meeting, so well, let's just do this quickly. So, how's the fastest way I could do this? We want to open up the drive, and then once we get into drive, then we want to what? Um, well, let's go into the current PDR doc. Is this document located? It's here. So then we're gonna just save the copy the contents. Copy the contents, copy the contents. Paste that in there. So this is what? This is the team operations manual. Now the thing is they are always asking you for markdown, and the way you get a markdown is to just push shift command and paste. My goodness. All right. That because the problem is now change tone, formal tone, cancel, casual, very formal. Change length. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Web page info quiz, audio overview. So I gotta close this, and then what? What actually just happened? I don't even know what it took me to the top of the document. I created the other documents as well. All right, I gotta go. But anyways, we'll see you later. Bye bye.